Okay, so we will continue. I hope you all enjoyed your lunch. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jiang Yandong, Associate Professor of Journalism, currently serving as a Director of Education Department in the Chinese Embassy. Ariel. Mr. Jiang came to Israel after 5 years of serving as a Director of Confucius Institute, Division of the Hanban. Before that, he was stationed at the Consulate General of China in Sydney, Australia, as First Secretary. And Mr. Jiang will be talking about current situation of China's higher education and its international cooperation. Please, Mr. Jiang.
Shalom, everyone. I would like to say good noon or good afternoon. So good afternoon. Thanks, Madam Zoha, for her invitation and introduction. I'm very, very glad to be here today to take this opportunity to share the information about Chinese. About the information of Chinese higher education with you. Particularly, some of you are my very good friends, and some of you are Chinese students. My presentation will include 5 parts. Firstly, I would like to briefly introduce the situation of Chinese higher education at the moment. By the end of last year, there are about 200 and almost 40 higher education institutes in China. Among them, nearly 90% providing academic degrees and graduation degrees. And among them, about 670 are private universities. And regarding of the number of college students, there are about 32 million college students. Some of them, about 1.6 million, are postgraduates, and 210,000 doctoral students. So each year, there are about 6.8 million freshmen enrolled, and at the same time, about 6 million graduates. So this is very similar to the population of Israel. So I think China is the country with the largest number of college students in the world. So this is from the quantity angle, not the quality. The structure of higher education administration, I think is different from Israel. Chinese universities include 2 categories. One is a national university, another one is a local university. National universities are funded and supervised by Ministry of Education of central government. And this ministry is in charge of fund appropriation and quality supervision. And local universities usually jointly funded by a Ministry of Education and province level government. And private universities receive less fund from government, but they are also supervised by the MOE. I think it's very similarly to Israel Higher Education Council. MOE is in charge of approval of establishment of new institute in China. From this diagram, we can see that the great majority of college students are studying at local universities, about 71%. And the proportion of national universities is just only 8%. This part, the second one, is about the leading universities. By the way, this is homework I'm asked by Madam Zhua. I just do it, follow her instruction. So this one is about leading universities. I think we have lots of standards to define which one university is leading or well-known or prestigious universities in the world. For example, we have US News and World Report rankings, and Times and Shanghai Jiaotong rankings. But these 7 universities are top 7 according to the World University Rankings 2013 and 2014 of the Times this year. But in China, I think the situation is different. How to define whether university is advanced in China? Actually, in China, we usually define whether a university is leading a university or not. We have a main standard. The standard is the 2 projects. It means that if the university is included in the list of these projects, if they are in the list, so the university is leading. If not, so the university may be not very good. The aim of both projects is to build research-oriented and application-oriented first-class universities in the world. Okay, let me talk about the projects. First one project is a project 211. First 2 and 1 means 21st century. Another one is 100 key universities. This is one of the key projects of China's next 5-year plan, aiming to strengthening 100 key universities in 21st century, which are primarily sponsored to make them reach the international top level. So we call it 211. The second project, we call it 985. This project at the moment sponsored about 39 universities, and these universities are picked up from those in project 211. So the 39 should be the best universities of China. Why we call this project 985? In May 1998, on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of Peking University, the former president of China, Mr. Jiang Yandong, proposed to establish world first-class universities, and the central government took the decision to launch the project. So we call that 985. This is a name list of 211 and 985. More than 110 universities in this name list. Regarding of the international cooperation of Chinese higher education, so by the end of last year, there are about 800 international cooperation programs in China. Half of them are business and economics programs, and they are mainly located the location where economy developed. For example, Beijing, Shanghai, Tianjin, Jiangsu province, and Zhejiang province, and Shandong province. Shandong is my hometown. So, for instance, I would like to mention it. Last July, maybe, or last August, Tel Aviv University signed an agreement with Tsinghua University to establish a nano. Sorry. Oh, September. Sorry, Ali. September. We met at that time. Yeah, and set up a nano research center. We call it the Xinxin Center in Beijing. And there are about 39 joint higher education institutes. 25 run business programs, and 14 or engineering programs. They are mainly located in Beijing, Shanghai, and Jiangsu. For example, New York University set up a branch in Shanghai, and Technion is talking about to set up jointly set up Shantou Technion in Guangdong. The international partner usually from English-speaking countries, for example, America, British, Australia, Canada, but Germany also in the top 5. The joint programs, the joint institutes, usually from the UK. UK is first one, and the second one is French, third one is Germany. America is fourth. Canada are also in 5 top. Number 4 is about overseas students studying in China. In last year, the number of overseas students reached about 330,000 in China, in the whole Chinese universities. And those students are coming from almost 200 countries. And they are studying at almost 700 universities. The increase ratio is more than 12%. Korea, America, Japan are top 3 countries. And almost 41% of them study academic degrees programs. They increased the ratio by almost 13%. I think this one may be the most interesting for you. And this one is about Chinese student distribution in the world. Last year, 413,000 Chinese students went abroad for their higher study. Compare this huge number. I'm very sorry to write it here, because there are just only 330 who are studying Israel. And maybe half of them will stay there for more than half a year. From this trend chart, we can see from 2007 to 2012, the increase rapidly. Okay. The annual increase by more than 10%. But from 2012 to last year, the increase is slowly, just only one. This number is 3.58 is from 2012 to last year. At the same time, the returning of graduates from foreign countries, the increase rapidly. Last year increased by 29.53%. This is the top 10 destination countries last year. America is number 1. Last year, 30% of Chinese students went to America. The number is 223,000. Totally, in America, there are about 240,000 Chinese students at the moment. The UK is second, Australia is third, Canada, Japan, France, Germany, Holland, Singapore, Korea. Actually, I think Singapore also maybe, Madam Molly, maybe Singapore also have 8 universities. Is that right? Maybe less than Israel. Singapore.
Singapore has like 3 official universities.
Yeah.
They have 2 more which will be open.
So 5 universities.
So you have 5 official
Yeah.
universities, state universities.
Yeah.
I don't know about the private universities.
Yeah. Maybe 还有 Mode 2 private university. But Singapore has more than 4,000 Chinese students.
They teach in English.
Hmm?
They teach in English or Chinese?
Yeah, English, certainly English.
Yes, it's
Hmm. Yeah, English.
the official language of the country.
So I think it's much more than Israel, huh? Yeah. The number 5 is about the strategies. Before talking the strategies, I would like to ask some questions. Why? Why so few Chinese students who are studying Israel? Why many Chinese students prefer other countries rather than as a destination rather than Israel? So I think there are three answers. First one is Chinese students more concerns of and their parents more concerns of security. This is number 1. Number 2 is most of them very less know about Israeli universities. Number 3 is maybe is a very important reason is Israeli student visa without the permission of job. So how to resolve it? So my recommendation will be 6 strategies. First one is we should expand more and more the visibility of your university in China. For example, last year, Madam Zoha headed a delegation to China for the International Higher Education Expo in Beijing, other cities, bigger cities, Shanghai. Yeah, that's very, very interesting for Chinese parents and Chinese students, because they are first time to meet with so many delegates from Israel. And even before my arrival in Israel, I don't know which my university is in Israel. I even don't know Tel Aviv University or Hebrew University. What's the difference between them? So I think the expo is a very, very important event. So the second one is I think maybe a local set up a local agents is very useful for your recruitment. For example, I know some world very good university, for example, Stanford, Harvard, and Cambridge already set up them agents or representatives office in Beijing, Shanghai, even in Guangzhou. So I think this is a very good way to let more and more Chinese students and Chinese parents to know about you directly. Third one is please translate your materials into Chinese. You know, most of the students' parents, the English not very good like me. So I think if you translate the material into Chinese, let them very easier to participate their children's progress. I think it's very important. You know, in China, parents very, very crucial, play a very, very crucial role for their children to choose a university. So I think if you put anything, it's very easier for them for them to understand. I think it's very useful. And my another suggestion is I think the summer campus or short-term programs for Chinese higher education, a high school or college student, also are good ways to convince them to join your college. For example, Tel Aviv will provide many scholarships for the short term for the college students, or maybe other university can provide some short-term or programs for the high school student. I think that will be wonderful. Second is recommendation is please make your application page more simple and easier to understand. You know, usually application materials very long and complicated. So if you want them to understand more better, please make it simple and maybe make it more shorter. Yeah. Thirdly, I think the website of a university is very, very important. And in UK, United Kingdom, and America, some universities tried this simple fix. They usually pick up 10 most frequently asked questions and video them, and put the video and audio on their website. This is a very easy and very cheap way to make the Chinese student to understand your universities. Fourth one is about scholarship policy. I think a Higher Education Council of Israel provides 250 scholarships annually for China and India. This is a very useful way and very, very important. Until last month, I think more than 100 Chinese students who are studying here, sponsored by the HEC. And I think I had received many phone calls and emails from Chinese students' parents to ask this policy. So I hope next year you can provide more bigger number for our two countries. Really appreciate. Number 5, I think for Chinese students, we have to tell the students the real situation of security and life. Actually there is a huge cultural shock when a Chinese student the first time to come here. And the cultural difference between our countries are very huge, I think. So, and Chinese media often reports lots of conflicts between Israel and Palestine. So before I arrive in Israel, I think Tel Aviv is a war ground. So my family is worried about my safety before I arrive. So I would like to do my best to promote, to tell more and more Chinese students Tel Aviv and other cities in Israel is safe. It's a wonderful, it's a beautiful coast view and advanced technology. And Israel is a startup nation. So this maybe this need all of us to do more. We have a long way to go. Finally, I would like to talk about the visa. According to my experience, I think most of countries in the world provide the foreign student visa with the permission of job. Very less countries, no job. For example, Israel and Indonesia. So, so I think for the foreign students, working is not only about money, not only about economy, but also about their experience in this country, and about their how to better immersion at the local society. So I think working, the job for them is very, very important. I'm very glad to read articles in Jerusalem Post maybe 20 years ago. And the report said the Israeli Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Interior is considering to amend this policy. Maybe they will provide the visa with permission of job. So that is a very, very good news for me and for all of you. So I think the visa with permission of job is very useful to attract foreign students to be here. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Thank you. This is my email address. I would like to keep in touch with all of you. Thank you. Todalaba. Okay.
Mr. Jiang will need to leave a bit early today, so if you have any question for him, now is the time to ask, because he won't be joining our Q&A panel. So any questions about recruitment from China? Yes, please.
There is an issue. I'm from Technion, and there is an issue.
Please take the
I
mic.
know that there's a list in China of countries that their degrees are acknowledged in China. I don't know what it means exactly. Israel is not one of them. List.
Of universities and countries.
Not the universities, it's a list
Okay.
of countries.
Okay.
Countries and then where
Yeah.
they recommend for the Chinese to go and study. We're not in.
So now our Chinese students, most of them
Then go to
graduate degrees in the US, but they're not sure whether the degree will be applicable back in China.
Yeah, let me talk to you about this name list. Before I arrived in Israel, indeed, there are no any university name in the name list of foreign approved by the Ministry of Education, foreign universities on the website of MOE. But from last October, I just arrived last September, end of September. But from last October, I already was talking about this issue with MOE. I think Madam Zuha knows very well about this process. Huh? Yeah, the Embassy of Israel in China is talking about this issue with Ministry of Education. I think it's very soon to resolve it. Your name list will be in your university's name will be in the name list very soon. I think if no sanction of diplomacy of your ministry, foreign ministry, then this is already resolved. I think. Yeah, because the strike, the huge strike, great strike, the unique in the world. So I hope it's very soon. Maybe in the next month we can we get a result. Yeah, if the strike ended this month, so no problem. Technion is very famous in China, and you get a lot of money from the Gacheng Fund. And you want to set up an institute, a dependent institute in Guangdong. Mm-hmm.
I go there now.
Oh, really? Uh-huh. Okay.
Any more questions?
Ollie, please.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
There are two things. Could you elaborate a little bit about the academic base in China system? Because we'd love to know when the years start.
Okay.
The summer programs.
Okay, academic days.
Yes.
Maybe I prefer to tell you the holiday. Okay?
Usually you go off for summer by the end of June.
Yeah.
Right?
The Chinese university usually in the holiday, or the university will be closed from end of July to the first of the end of August. So it's the summer holiday is the longest holiday, and
In the end of June.
end of July. Yeah, but some of them end of some of them from maybe the middle of August to the middle of September. But most of them from end of July to 1st of September. Yeah.
And another
And winter holiday usually about the usually dependent by the Spring Festival. Spring Festival is different, not a very same date. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chinese New Year.
Yeah, Chinese New Year just only one day holiday.
Okay. Another question is the issue of the visa from our end. I mean, our students would like to have their internship also in China.
Mm-hmm.
So it's both ways. You are looking for a visa for your students here for a permit to
I
work.
think
And we are looking for the visa
no
for our
problem.
students.
Just tell me, I will give you help.
Yes, you are really a very good friend of Israel,
Yeah,
I know,
okay.
and you help us a lot.
Thank
So
you.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Jiang 先生，你好。I have a question. I read that every year there are about 7 million new graduates in China, roughly. And of course, the competition for job is very fierce.
Yes.
Has there been any study commissioned by the Chinese government or anyone showing that Chinese students who graduate from abroad, they studied abroad, have an advantage in the job market? Thank you.
Sorry?
就是如果就在国外去学，有没有比较容易找到工作？有没有这样的研究？
Yes, certainly. I think, but
Anyone else wants to ask a question that should say it in Chinese, just like Alex, okay?
okay. Next, okay. I'd like to answer your questions. You know, in China, we need much more the higher level. I mean, the quality, higher level quality graduates from foreign universities. So much easier for the overseas student when they back to the country. This is why so many graduates come back China, and some of them can apply the green card from America, but they didn't want it. You know, the China currently, you know, the China is the biggest market in the world, and they have the graduation have many opportunities to find a job, but this is not all of them. You know, not all of them. This is, I think, the most of them. If their major is not very good, for example, business is full in China. You can everywhere full by the business major graduates. So, but for engineering, we lack it. We need it. So it's not all. And for the regarding of the graduate from local university, if they have we call 真本事叫怎么说? If they have a real if they are very much higher quality, they can get a job easily, because we are so huge market, no problem. So many companies, many NGO organizations need the graduation every year. So, okay, thank you.
Any more questions? This should be fine.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.